Hello, equity agents. Happy Tuesday. It's Tuesday, May 21st. I hope you guys are doing well. You're enjoying the warmer weather out there. Today, I am jumping on this video to provide you with a quick update surrounding the NAR settlement. We've kind of been sitting quietly just because information is still changing pretty much on a daily and weekly basis. But I feel like there's enough substantial talking points now that we can publish this video just to keep you apprised of the biggest developments that are set to go into effect on August 17th. So, just a quick disclaimer as I said, information is changing rapidly, but this will serve as a general update on where things stand. And if you've been following the NAR settlement, this information that I'm presenting probably isn't going to be too surprising. You're probably already aware of a lot of these updates, but I still thought it would be a good idea to make this official video just to bring you up to speed, talk about the big highlights, and anyone who isn't following the NAR settlement, pay attention. It's good to keep tabs on what's happening. So I was on a managing broker call with REColorado today, and they did a great job of keeping it concise and providing information to us managers, employing brokers, managers. And I'm kind of just going to base my video off of the information that was presented, and it correlates directly with what's being released from NAR. So August 17th is the starting point. August 17th is when all of these changes that we're about to talk about today are supposed to go into effect. Everything we talk about on this video today applies to all REColorado subscribers, whether you are a realtor or not. If you're a member of REColorado, everything we discuss on this video does apply to you. My personal 2 cents, when we go through these items, there's a lot of tension and stress around this settlement. The items that I'm sharing today aren't that detrimental. I think we're all kind of on edge. But when you read through the changes that are going into effect on August 17th, not much is to be too concerned about. Yes, there are practice changes. We're going to do business a little bit differently, and there's new rules and regulations to be aware of as an agent. But it's nothing that's too concerning. So let's dive right into these. First and foremost, we all already know, effective August 17th, and even now, I would encourage you all, if you're not already, buyer agent agreements must be signed prior to showing homes. We already knew that. That's Colorado law. That's something that we've been teaching here at Equity for years and years and years. But they're cracking down. Our industry is being watched extremely closely. And I'll come back to this topic here in a minute, but I did confirm on this call today there are secret shoppers of sorts out there, both REColorado employees and people who are employed by the Department of Justice who are testing and watching all of these changes extremely closely to make sure that we're all following the rules. So back to the buyer agency agreements. If you've been hard at work with buyers agents for the last several years, you know our stance, and that has always been to get a buyer agency agreement signed before you show any properties. Sit down and do a formal buyer presentation to explain how you work, and most importantly, disclose how commissions are being paid, and that commissions are negotiable. They've always been negotiable. So that piece hasn't really changed. You've probably been doing that, but if you haven't, or if this is news to you, do not show any homes without any kind of written agreement in place first with a buyer that explains how you get paid, your compensation. So the 3 documents. So the exclusive right to buy, you guys know that one, the buyer agency agreement, the brokerage disclosure to buyer, and some are even saying the definitions of working relationships are 3 current disclosures or agreements that you can have a buyer sign. I personally believe the exclusive right to buy is the strongest. I mean, that is the most detailed of all the documents. It explains agency and the different types of representation, along with your uniform duties and agency duties, things that you are required to do as an agent. And it talks about commissions and all that good stuff. So shoot for the exclusive right to buy. When you're in a pinch and you need to show maybe an unrepresented buyer on one of your listings, Maybe that's where you lean into the brokerage disclosure to buyer, which outlines the different types of representation: transaction broker, agency, or customer. And that also outlines that your fiduciary duties lie with the seller in that particular case of showing an unrepresented buyer. So to keep it as simple as possible, you have to have an agency agreement signed, some sort of agreement or disclosure signed prior to showing homes. We already knew that. So I think we've hammered that one out. The other piece within the agreements, you must have definitive amounts outlined in your agency agreements. Definitive compensation outlined in your agreements. It can be a percentage. It can be a flat fee. It can be an hourly rate. So however you choose to be paid, you just have to include that in your exclusive right to buy. And most importantly, it cannot be open-ended. A lot of agents are saying, what if I do 2%, between 2% and 3%, or whatever the listing agent or seller is offering as co-op, that's what I'm going to get paid. You cannot do that. You have to include a specific percentage, flat fee, or hourly rate, 3%, for example, or 2.8%, for example. The other piece to this, when you go under contract or as you're negotiating the deal, if anything changes to that compensation, such as you establish maybe a 3% commission in your exclusive right to buy, but the seller and listing agent offer 2.5%, for example, you must create a listing contract amend extend to revise those commission amounts in your exclusive right to buy agreements. The same can be said if you see a commission higher than what you're supposed to be paid in the exclusive right to buy. For example, say your exclusive right to buy says 2.5% is the commission that you're going to be paid as the buyer's agent. And then you come across a listing where the seller and the listing agent are offering a 3% co-op commission. Again, this is more than what the buyer agreed to in the exclusive right to buy to pay you or to be paid as compensation to you as the buyer's agent. So you must create a listing contract amend extend and have your buyer sign off on that compensation change. When the listing agent or seller is offering more commission than what you agreed to in the exclusive right to buy with your buyer, that is money that can be used towards a buyer's concession or to be, subtracted from the listing price, or purchase price. So your buyer has to know that you are accepting that commission. And this is something that you should be talking about with the exclusive right to buy when you review Section 7, explaining who pays commissions. These are scenarios that you should outline when you're sitting down with the buyer, where you provide those examples. In the event the seller or a listing agent provide a higher commission, I can accept it. You, buyer, can choose to use that as a concession. It's not an automatic payment to the buyer's agent if you're getting more commission than agreed upon in the exclusive right to buy. So keep that in mind. Again, this isn't revolutionary. These are practices we've all been following. If you've been paying attention and following license law correctly, we want full transparency with commissions. So going the extra mile to document or revise a listing agreement using a listing contract amend extend is imperative now more than ever. The next piece here, disclosure. Disclosure must be presented to buyers and sellers that indicate commissions are not set by law and are fully negotiable. Of course, this settlement kind of made it seem like buyers and sellers, they had to pay a 6% commission because of the media headlines. Commissions have always been negotiable. So again, don't flinch at that. Commissions have always been negotiable. You know that. And I'll quickly share the disclosure about this has already been added to the listing agreements that are in CTM currently. The exclusive right to buy, they added this little sentence here. Compensation charged by a brokerage firm is not set by law. Such charges are established by each real estate brokerage firm. And then similarly, on the exclusive right to sell listing contract, same thing. Compensation charged by a brokerage firm is not set by law. Such charges are established by each real estate brokerage firm. If you have the exclusive right to buy or exclusive right to sell signed prior to showing a property, you're in compliance. You've made all the disclosures necessary and you've talked about commission and you're good to go there. So moving right along, the other note, Damian Cox and Scott Peterson. If you don't know their names, those are two reputable attorneys in our industry. They have both worked really hard submitting new revisions to the forms at the Colorado Real Estate Commission, Division of Real Estate. So those revisions are being reviewed right now, and we will probably see some changes to the exclusive right to buy and exclusive right to sell, possibly the brokerage disclosure to buyer, and definitions of working relationship documents as well in the coming months ahead, probably prior to that August 17th deadline. I really like Scott Peterson and Damian Cox. They understand our industry and all the hard work and complexities of our job as agents. So I'm confident that the changes that they recommend to the Forms Committee will be welcomed changes through all of these nuances with the settlement. So we, of course, will give you updates when those are published. Right now, under review. So another change we all knew was coming. The other big piece here, no commissions can be advertised in the MLS or any online forum other than your agent website for that particular listing. That's the one place where you can offer or advertise, rather, the commission that's being offered to a co-op agent on your listings. The Department of Justice, this whole settlement, they don't want agents conspiring or creating new forums where advertising of commissions is applicable, meaning you can't create a Facebook group to promote your your commissions. You can't sneakily include that commission anywhere in the MLS. The example on the REColorado call today, some agents are capitalizing letters in their public remarks so that all the capital letters state, I am paying a 6% co-op commission. Don't do that. You can't be, sneaky, try to get around these new laws. REColorado confirmed that there are algorithms in place, really mathematical algorithms that are in place that are watching all of the data being shared in REColorado, and you will get caught. You will be found out. So, in other words, you can only advertise those commissions on your specific agent website. The MLS compensation field will be going away entirely. It might already be gone. I haven't had a chance to check in the last couple of weeks. And again, we all knew this was coming. And as we work with buyers, it's just going to take a little bit more communication on our side as buyers agents to call those listing agents and begin negotiations with commissions that way. Hey, listing agent, are you offering a co-op commission? And of course, those co-op commissions should be written into the contract to buy and sell going forward. You can start that practice today, even if there's a co-op commission being listed somewhere in the MLS currently, until that field is completely removed. It's not a bad business practice to begin including your commission, your compensation in the additional provisions of the contract to buy and sell. And what that would look like, buyer's agent Paul Weininger to be paid 2.8% of the final purchase price, something very simple in the additional provisions there. By putting that in the contract, it's guaranteed. The seller and the listing agent, it's become a part of your buyer's offer now, and the seller and listing agent know that a commission is being paid to you upon a successful closing. Very similar to when we do for sale by owner transactions. When you represent a buyer writing an offer to an unrepresented seller for sale by owner, you include that commission in your contract to buy and sell. So moving right along, as I'm going through my notes, we've covered the big ones. So I hope you're seeing, we're okay. Everything's okay. Yes, we're going to have to make some changes to the way we do business, but nothing too crazy here. I want to reiterate, I have in bold underlined letters, there are secret shoppers out there. Secret shoppers meaning people who are watching everything us agents are doing. Everything from the public and broker remarks in our MLS listings. You might even get a call from a buyer who wants to see a home super quickly, as in, hey, I need to get into this house today. I found you online. Can you show me this house? And they might be testing you to see if you have a formal checkpoint in your process to sit them down and sign a buyer agency agreement or a brokerage disclosure to buyer or definitions of working relationships, something in writing that explains commissions and how you're paid, and that commissions are not set by law. So be aware, do things by the books, because realtors, agents, licensees, managing brokers, we're all being watched very closely right now as a result of this settlement. And so we need to bring our A game with all of these changes. Real quick, concessions can be advertised in the MLS just like usual. REColorado has always allowed concessions, but the field will be modified prior to August 17th. There will be a multi-selection tool now, meaning you can choose the type of concession being offered in your listing. Buyer credits, points, HOA fees, whatever those concessions amount to, you will actually have a drop-down window where you can select those concessions. I think the other big misconception through all this is people are kind of thinking, well, what if listing agents and sellers offer concessions in a sneaky way to pay a buyer's agent? And that can't be allowed. Concessions and commissions are two separate things. And that's the other piece here. A seller can't offer a concession that is paid to the buyer's agent at closing as a commission. Concessions are only amounts applied to buyer's closing costs or other incentives like HOA credits, as an example on that call, not a commission for the buyer's agent. So another quick nuance when it comes to concessions, if a seller offers a concession, it cannot be conditional upon working with a buyer's agent. In other words, if a seller decides to offer a concession, that concession is applicable to any buyer, whether it's an unrepresented buyer or a buyer working with a buyer's agent. And that was kind of a caveat. The Department of Justice doesn't want listing agents trying to be creative, saying, well, what if we offer a concession to buyers who are being represented by a buyer's agent in hopes that we can kind of negotiate a commission that way. So no, it's an even playing field. If a concession is being offered, it has to be offered to an unrepresented buyer or a buyer working with an agent, whatever that looks like, the concession must be the same. I think those are the big takeaways here, guys. My biggest piece of advice is just tune in, pay attention to what's happening with the NAR settlement. And I've posted a couple links in the description below in this video with links to monitor real-time updates. There will be an FAQ link for NAR, so you can monitor those NAR changes that are happening, any updates to the NAR settlement. And then I personally love the way REColorado is pushing information on this settlement. So I've also included a link to their website with a lot of the details I covered on this video, and they are updating those constantly. So that's all I've got for today. Stay hopeful. As you can see from these changes to take effect on August 17th, we're okay. We're all okay. We are agents who adapt, and you guys are already implementing systems into your business that kind of helps with these changes. I've had a lot of conversations with many of you through the support line, and you're already doing all kinds of things to prepare for this, working things into your buyer presentations and your listing presentations. Stay the course, keep providing value to your people, and as we get more updates on the NAR settlement, I will be sure to share those with you. If something I said did not make sense, or if you have questions, you want to chat further, you can always call the support line. We'll be happy to discuss this and brainstorm ideas, give you as much information that's available to us. And yeah, we'll go from there. So I hope you guys have a great week. Keep doing a great job. I'm seeing a nice uptick in inventory and transactions. If you missed our sales meeting, our numbers overall are up from this time last year, which is a great sign. We're seeing a big increase despite interest rates being higher and all this talk around the settlement. So I think I'd end the video on that note. You guys are doing a really good job. You're busy, and the biggest piece is that we're going to be okay. Don't stress. Just make sure you follow the new changes that are going to be in effect on August 17th. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Thanks.